Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Casey. Today, we're continuing Brand Spotlight, my mini series where we feature different fashion brands and talk about their origin story, their mission, what they became known for, and the real reasons they either stayed successful, changed direction, or slowly disappeared from the market. For this episode, we're taking the idea from the last one even further. This is a brand where desire is not just about the product, it's also about access. It's about waiting. It's about scarcity that feels intentional. Hermes. Hermes starts as something very different from what most people associate with it today. The story begins in Paris in 1837, when Thierry Hermès opened a workshop making harnesses for horses. From the very beginning, the brand positioned itself around craftsmanship and durability, and it quickly built a reputation among an elite clientele who cared about precision and quality. Hermès even highlights that early recognition came through awards, including at the 1867 Universal Exhibition, which helped establish the house's prestige in a very public way. Then, in 1880, the business moved to 24 Rue du Faubourg Saint-Honoré in Paris, which is still the iconic address people associate with Hermès today. So before it was a fashion status symbol, it was built as a workshop, a house of artisans. And that origin matters because it explains why the brand feels different even now. It doesn't present itself as a brand that chases speed. It presents itself as a brand that protects a way of making things. In its public reporting, it consistently frames its values around demanding craftsmanship, authenticity, and responsible growth, staying true to that identity over time. And you can see that emphasis very clearly in how the company talks about training artisans, including building formal pathways to protect its savoir-faire through its own training programs. Now, what is it known for? Most people will name the bags first: the Birkin, the Kelly, the waiting lists, the resale prices. But the brand's codes go deeper than that. It is known for leatherwork, of course, but also for silk, for equestrian heritage, and for the idea that luxury is not only about appearance. It's about time, technique, and consistency. Still, let's talk about the icons because they're a big part of how Hermès became a global symbol. First, the Kelly bag. The style existed before it became the Kelly, but it became famous after Grace Kelly was photographed carrying it and demand surged. Some sources describe the naming as happening in the late 1950s after that cultural moment, while other fashion reporting notes the bag was officially renamed later in 1977. Either way, the point is the same. A single cultural image turned a product into mythology. Then there's the Birkin, created in 1984 after a chance encounter involving Jane Birkin and then its CEO, Jean-Louis Dumas, which became one of the most repeated origin stories in fashion. What's important here is not just that the bags are expensive, it's that their bags became symbols because they sit at the intersection of craft and scarcity. They're handmade, often by a single artisan, and they're not treated like inventory that needs to move fast. So how did they succeed the way it did? It comes down to a few strategic choices that reinforce each other. First, it anchored itself in craft credibility long before modern luxury branding existed. It started with functional, elite quality work for equestrian clients, and that foundation still supports its authority today. Second, it built a brand identity around savoir-faire, and it continues to invest in protecting that know-how through training and formal certification pathways. That's not just values, that's operational strategy. Third, it mastered controlled growth. A lot of brands try to grow by making luxury more available. The brand grows by staying selective, then letting demand do the talking. It's a brand that benefits from the fact that you can't always just walk in and buy the exact thing you want on the spot. And that leads to the fourth point. It turns scarcity into brand meaning. For many shoppers, the wait becomes part of the story. The process becomes part of the status. The idea of being offered something becomes part of the product experience, even before the product enters the picture. Now, Is it still around, and why? It is not only still around, it's one of the clearest examples of a brand protecting its identity across generations. It stays powerful because it knows what it is, and it doesn't dilute that definition to chase trends. It reinforces craft, reinforces the house codes, reinforces the idea that luxury should feel earned, not endless. At the same time, the brand's size and visibility also brings scrutiny. Any company operating at this level has to keep proving that its storytelling matches its practices, especially when it comes to materials, sourcing, and responsibility. But its core positioning remains consistent: craftsmanship first, growth with control, and a long-term relationship with making. And that's why the brand fits perfectly into this series. It shows what happens when a brand builds desire through restraint, and when the most powerful part of the product is not just how it looks, but how it's made, and how difficult it is to access. In the next brand spotlight, we can take a close cousin to this strategy and compare it. A brand that also trades on icons and pricing power, but plays a different game when it comes to production scale and cultural presence. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.